And we're live. We talk weeklies after the talk on WPPMLP Philadelphia 106.5 FM. We talk weeklies after the talk with your boy Charles Gregory and the beautiful.
Lawrence Sizzle.
And the beautiful
Classy Lady Sparkle.
is definitely in the building. And today we have someone with whom I have a tremendous amount of respect for. It's a longtime friend. We've been in these streets for a long time. You know, when we talk about public access media and reporting and doing the good deeds for the community, really reporting, we talk hyper local and enhancing and amplifying those voices that truly need to be heard. She's been doing this thing for a long time. So super proud of this young lady, and we have her here today. So without further ado, who's doing the honors and introducing who we have today?
I can do it.
All right, fantastic. Why
I'll
don't you
let yeah.
give me the honors? Holla at me.
Today we have the beautiful, renowned Gabriela Watson-Burkett. She's a Philadelphia-based filmmaker, journalist, and storyteller with roots in Peru and Brazil. She's the founder of the Intia Media and a 2025 NAHJ Adelant Fellow with work featured on 6ABC, WHYY, and Philly Cam, and many more. And her award-winning documentary is it Baobab Flowers? It still has folks talking. Let's give a warm We Talk Weekly welcome to Gabrielle Watson Burkett. Burkett.
Hey, super excited, super excited, super excited. How are you? How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Uh,
I'm
fa-
excited to be here, you guys.
Fantastic. We're excited to have you. And you know what I would like to do anytime that we have someone on the show, I like to walk our viewers through not only your process, but kind of like your movement of where you began to where you are now. And you've been doing a lot of work pretty much alongside us, you know, and I'm super excited that you have been very, how can I say it? Um, intentional with the work that you have been doing. So let's start from day one because you're a filmmaker, storyteller, you're a producer, you produce a number of shows. Fantastic and excited that you're a journalist too when we're reporting when we talk about civic engagement, and we'll go into that because you're again alongside we talk weekly again with your work with every voice every vote, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But let's start with your producer's hat. Okay, what made you get into producing and storytelling with the narratives that you create and tell those stories?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I
Sure.
think if we go back to the roots of that, we're really talking, Gabriela,
Yeah.
16 years old in Brazil, watching Spike Lee's, Malcolm X movie or Do the Right Thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
Wow.
it was a transformative experience,
Yeah.
as an Afro-Brazilian who didn't see a
Yeah.
lot of representation of positive, Black representation on screen. I grew up in the 90s, and there wasn't really a lot of,
Yeah.
Black faces there, especially in mainstream, in journalism,
Yeah.
mainstream characters. So that film, Malcolm X,
I love that. Yeah.
it was shocking. I was like, that's what I want to do,
Yeah.
because I felt like I learned so much about history, even though it wasn't my country. I'm like, oh, like Black people do have a rich history that
Yeah.
I'm not being taught at school.
Wow.
And then I love how I learned about it,
Yeah.
right? Through the films and the music and the costumes.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want to create that
Yeah.
impact on people,
Yeah.
to tell about our stories in a way that is so engaging and beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, for those who are not aware, because there has been a few people when you say Afro-Latina, they like, what? What does that mean? Right.
Right.
And most didn't even know that that even
Right.
existed. Right. So why don't you explain or extrapolate the concept of Afro-Latina, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, of course. It's, Charles and Lauren and Sparkle right there.
Yeah.
It's Afro Latino. It's a new term,
Yeah.
and it's very popular here in the U.S.,
Mhm.
where you have this huge, Latina population. Some people call it Hispanic. I prefer Latino because it's more comprehensive. That includes like countries like Brazil, which are not Hispanic because we were colonized by Portugal.
Yeah.
So we are considered Latino, and Afro Latino is those folks who are from Afro descent, right? Who came also from Africa,
That's right.
who came through slavery,
Hmm.
enslavement process. They were not slaves; they were, turned into enslavement
Yeah.
process, and got to Brazil, got to the whole, Latin America, the Caribbean,
Hmm.
Peru, and they're everywhere.
Yeah.
But we don't learn about this, and that's what we call like the diaspora, right? The
Yeah. Diaspora.
African
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
diaspora.
Hmm.
And but it's something that even in Brazil we struggle to see, because we are the country with more Black people outside of Africa.
Right.
Like, we're talking now more than 50% is Afro-Brazilians,
Wow.
but we're not aware that in Peru, the country of my parents, there are Black people,
Mm,
because people often think of indigenous, the
that's right.
Andean llamas, but there actually there's an expressive Afro-Peruvian culture
Yeah.
in Chile, in
Yeah.
Argentina. And in Argentina, when you talk about, the 1800s, most of Argentinian country was Afro-Argentinian actually,
Right.
but they actually were very intentional about killing these people of African descent, pushing them to wars,
Yeah.
and then cleansing the population,
Right.
to becoming, now they call it the European, South American country. And, I roll my eyes because it's just that thing of always claiming the European ancestry,
Yeah.
but trying to stay away from the African ancestry.
Yeah. Yeah. That's. I like the time that we're in now, because what's happening is we're digging and pulling back those layers to find out exactly who we are, claiming our indigenous rights, so to speak. So I'm loving the movement to do that within the cultures, right? So we talked a little bit about your background, your ancestry, and moving. First, is anyone else in your family heavy when it comes to storytelling, or are they in the field? Do they look at you and say, I love what you're doing? Tell a story about it. It's like, what's the sentiment?
Yes, I think it's interesting. I think if you get the definition of what a storyteller is,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for sure.
I don't have a direct
Yeah.
person like that, but I started Inti Media because of the works that my parents did
Okay.
with Inti, which was a nonprofit organization to support Peruvian immigrants in Brazil.
Oh, wow.
And I grew up as an immigrant, as a daughter of immigrants in Brazil, in São Paulo, and my both of my parents are from Peru, and they came to pursue studies, and
Right.
there they saw this lack of support for the immigrants, specifically the
Hmm.
Peruvian community. So that for me, when I had to think of a name of an organization to continue the legacy of support service,
Yeah.
I thought I need to claim Inti Media,
Yeah.
and that's kind of using the same goal, but shaping to what is my skills, what is what I want to do, which is storytelling and media and advocacy.
Wow. Fantastic. Fantastic. Spark, you had something? I seen you. It looks like you're in mute.
I
There,
was.
there you go.
Okay. Gabriella, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Now that you're here in Philadelphia and with all of the beautiful culture from Peru, Brazil, and Philly, how do you intersect those types of world together to create what you do?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that question. Philly, I call it Philly home,
That's right.
and it feels amazing. My husband
Yeah.
is here to testify
Yeah.
it. When I got to Philadelphia around 11 years ago, and it feels like it's just 2 years, but my kids tell me that is not. It's been longer. I just have this sense of freedom and of just fitting. Like, I found a place that I could fit,
Yeah.
that I could also do my work, and find my space in this middle
Yeah.
of this amazing community that we have here. And for me, it also speaks to the community of creators that I try to bring together at Inti Media. We do focus on Latino, Latine stories, but also bridging with Black and Brown communities. So we do have stories that also focus on Afro-Latino, but also Black Americans, Indigenous, Muslims, Asians, because nowadays everything is intersected. If it wasn't before, today definitely is. a lot of the social issues that we speak are connected, interconnected through the different communities that we talk. And we are, we are a community, a
Yeah.
diverse community that we interact with everyone, a melting pot.
Yeah.
And although there is specific, specificities of each community, the truth is that we will only accomplish change if we stand up all together. And
Yeah.
that's being shown when we see the attacks on various communities, if
Yeah.
immigration or is racism. If we don't stand up all together, it's going to be a lot harder to
Yeah.
accomplish change. That's why it's important for me to, to say, hey, this is for all of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm glad that you mentioned some of the things, especially when it comes to social injustices that
Yeah.
are affecting specific targeted communities right now with what's going on when it comes to a lot of the political issues. And I really enjoyed one of the short uh
Should I
um
move? Sorry.
oh, I'm sorry.
Should I move or
No,
should I
you're
stay
fine. No,
here?
you're staying right there. You're
Okay.
good. Yep.
I really enjoyed the short documentaries that you guys did, which was the food truck film that you did. And I think what stood out for me when I was listening to what the people were saying was that um, they're targeting certain communities, and they're supposed to be claiming to go after criminals and all these things, but they're harassing people that are trying to support the community, that they have the food trucks, and they come up with the curfew and all that, and they're fining them. And it's so unfair. Like, when you were out talking to these people, what were some of the things that they were saying to you that was most concerning to them, that with what was happening to them?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, that was a great story that we were able to report,
Hmm.
focusing on a newly founded organization called Latino
Mm-hmm.
Food Truck Association. And actually, they decided to start their organization because of the curfew that was affecting them,
Yeah.
and they were not able to operate, the food trucks past 11, which was really detrimental to their, being able to be sustainable. And so it was really, really touching, because when we went to talk to them, they were very excited, and we could tell that they wanted to talk. They wanted that space. So
Hmm.
in a lot of oftentimes it's really rewarding just to create that space that
Yeah.
community can voice their concerns. And our goal with Intia Media is to really make that bridge with local government,
Yeah.
so they can see what are the claims,
Hmm.
and hopefully we can raise awareness and spark solutions,
Yeah. Yeah.
hold accountability, and create that long lasting relationship with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I wanna go ahead, Spark.
Oh, I was just saying awesome. But I do have a question, Gabriela. Do you speak Portuguese and Spanish?
Sí, yo falo y yo hablo español también.
I love that.
Awesome. So, by you speaking Portuguese, Spanish, English, does that sometimes, like with your writing voice, does that sometimes shift the way that the audience receives or the way you have to deliver it?
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yes, we try to do it multilingual,
Yeah.
in terms of putting information with captions, and also when we put the articles, translate in Spanish at least, and in Portuguese
Yeah.
too. And it's different. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely the way that we communicate in Portuguese, it's very friendly, very, we don't even call people Mrs. or Miss, Mr.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, growing up, I never call my professors Mr. blah blah blah. We call it by the first name.
Yeah.
We're very, is there that culture?
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
I remember coming to the US, somebody flagged me, say, it's Mrs. blah blah blah. Like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to be disrespectful. Just culturally, that's how we talk.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
there's a lot of that, and so you need to be aware of, especially when we do the captions. It's not just put it on AI and translate it. You actually need to make
Mhm.
sure it makes sense when you translate. So that's
Yeah.
another layer of work.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I did
Yeah.
notice that when I was watching it. It was like, it was being translated like when someone was speaking Spanish, it was the English translation, and then when there was someone speaking English, and then it switched to. So I like that. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That way, everybody knows what's being said and what's going on. I like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Thank you.
fantastic. So you're the founder, executive director, and editor in chief of Intia Media, right? Media organization dedicated to producing multilingual news and documentaries that inspire change. So let's talk a little bit about that because that's a testament to your work again and some of the curiosities that you explore as it relates to not only you but your culture and your people, right? We're huge advocates, and I'll put the invitation out there. If you have any information, news that reflects your community, send it to us. We'll leave a space out there for on our website for that, right? Because we believe in how diverse not only Philadelphia is, but when we talk about true hyper local news, it's inclusive of everyone, right? Not just one person, right? Or one community. So that said, right, all of the storytelling and journalism that you have gotten into, was it any aha moments that you had that you're like, yes, I'm in the right space with what I do?
Yes. Throughout my whole
Well,
career,
through
or
yet
since Intia Media.
season the media, when you go in the media, any media, and some of the
Mhm.
work that you're doing now, was it
Mhm.
something? It could be anything. What was a huge aha moment to say, I need
Mhm.
to start doing this work?
Yes. Um, well, you got me thinking, Charles. I think again, we
Hmm.
need to go way back when
Yeah.
uh, my first documentary was We Afro-Peruvians,
Mm,
Nosotros Afro-Peruanos, which was an investigation to understand more of my own heritage.
yeah.
Again, I grew up with my parents in Brazil and I didn't hear much about Afro-Peruvians. So I said, I just want to go back and interview, you know, Lauren, and talk to folks, and that was born my first, short documentary, which was like a
Mhm.
very simple camera, very like, amateur,
Yeah.
but it was transformative in a way that the conversations I had with folks were so transformative,
Yeah.
enriching, enlightening, and even with the quality of the material
Yeah.
not being 100%, people wanted to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll have
Mhm.
exhibitions and people will come and say,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing this. We don't
Hmm.
actually
Ah.
have access about this content either, in
Mm,
Brazil.
Hmm.
yeah.
So it was, like you said, it was an aha moment for me. But like, wow,
Yeah.
so it wasn't about again just having the amazing picture, which I consider super important,
Yeah.
but at that moment was about the message.
Yeah.
So for me, I said, wow, I this is what I love doing again. And people coming here because they want to learn more. So I said, yes, that's what I would like to continue to do and improve on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a decorated documentarian now. You won flowers for what is it? How I don't want to mispronounce. Is it Baobab Flowers? Is that how
Yes.
you say
Yeah,
it?
Baobab Flowers.
Really? Oh, I said it right. Let me give myself a
Mhm.
round of applause for that. Okay,
Got
so
it.
let's talk a little bit about that and what inspired you to
Your
create that
director's
documentary.
hat.
Yeah, your director's hat for sure.
Yes, yes. So Baobab Flowers, it was my thesis for my MFA. So
Ah,
what got me to Philly was to pursue, my master in fine arts, because after Spike Lee, when I was 15,
Mm.
do the right thing.
I would love to go to the Mecca. That for me, that's how it felt for
Wow.
me. That's how I was seeing, I want to go to the Mecca
Yeah.
of films of, that represent Black people
Love that.
and learn from them. And I had always this dream, and it, took a lot of years because it's very expensive for, foreigners to study here.
Yeah.
And it took, you have to have all the certificates,
Yeah.
English, blah blah blah, or this proficiency. So finally happened, the stars aligned.
Yeah.
And I was able to come to Philly to pursue the MFA. And then the thesis for that program was, we had to do a real film.
Mm.
So when thinking about how I wanted to follow Nosotros Afro-Peruanos, which is again this first documentary that I did, I wanted to again continue exploring, documentary language, because I love that intimate approach, and focusing on education and on women, women, Black women who want to make a change through education and
Right.
through understanding a more Afrocentric way of education.
Yeah.
It made a lot of sense. I met first my teacher in São Paulo, Priscila.
Mm.
And after I met her, I'm like, she is amazing. She needs to be on a documentary. I found my person.
Wow.
Because,
Awesome.
making documentaries is that you have to have that feeling,
Right.
of someone who has like a very interesting story, who feels comfortable on a camera, who holds, who has many layers, so
Yeah. Yeah.
when I met Priscilla, and she'll, talk about her study in education, how she chose like the worst school in the city, which was like 2 hours from downtown, to teach, because she wanted to create a change in the community. Again, mostly Afro-Brazilians, and everything that she'll bring up, it was another aha moment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, Priscilla, it's amazing. It's fascinating. She's a mom. She is a leader, and is a person that you want to just hear. This
Yeah.
kind of people that you feel like you want to just hear forever.
Wow.
So I was looking for another teacher here in São Paulo, in Philadelphia, and through friends, I got to Nyanza. Nyanza Bandele. I love you, Nyanza. And she is from West Philly, born
Shout
and
out to West
raised.
Philly. Yeah. Yeah. Born and raised. Yeah.
Yes.
Shout out there.
Yes.
And daughter of another teacher, very invested in her community. She used to teach at Overbrook when I met her.
Wow. That's my alma mater. No, that, yeah,
Wow.
For sure.
Yes.
Wow.
And then at that moment, like, she was relocated to Edison High School, which she
Edison?
didn't ask for.
Okay.
So it was shocking, because she said, I give my life in Overbrook. I live, blocks away from this school, and now they're, relocating me. So it was very crucial timing for her. I was able to follow her through the years, which is also a great thing to do, through a documentary, to like be with someone through years and build that connection. So we did that, and the result was very rewarding for myself. And I hope I believe it was impactful for the communities that we filmed. We were able to get the this recognition at Black Star for Best Documentary Short for Audience Award, which was so humble to get it.
Wow.
And it is beautiful. It's just, again, just this moment of connecting communities, through a film, and feeling closer, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Gabrielle, you kind of answered it, but I'm gonna just ask it anyway. So you spoke of Spike Lee, and I love Spike Lee. I don't think there's not one movie he didn't make that I didn't see. But after Spike Lee, there was a lot of women who were trying to come into the industry. You got Issa Rae, Ava DuVernay, Tanya Saracho, what's my other girl? Shonda Rhimes.
Shonda Rhimes.
And yeah, so as you, as a woman of color coming into this field that mostly was male dominated, what are you doing to make it where other young women can see you and say, hey, she made it easier for us to join in?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for mentioning all these these amazing filmmakers there. And Ava DuVernay definitely is an inspiration for me. So I'm
Mhm.
glad you talked about her and all the other women that have been challenging, right? Mainstream film in directing, in authors, script writing, and again with Intia Media, we try. No, we are intentional about have creating space for Latine, BIPOC, and women
Love that.
in
Yeah.
in leadership position, in all the creative spaces. But for example, I make sure that we have women, also other directors,
Yeah.
other women producing. That's important. New generation. I have some young talents that want to be close,
Mm,
so we create space for them as AD, as assistant directors, producers, to because part of the mission is to also encourage them
yeah.
in
Mhm.
this creative path. It's not easy, like you said. It's a very male nominated. It's very hard to break in. It's very hard to establish a career in film, but we need to help one another.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
right.
important for me. That's something that's very important for me to bridge the gap. If you look at our team, um, it's very women led
Hmm.
in terms of the managers, in terms of the editors, and that's something that we're proud of.
Mm. Okay.
I'm
Mhm.
proud to hear it too. And you're knocking on the door of your name because of all the recognitions I went over, and it didn't even touch them all even in your bio. So thank you for your contributions as well.
Yeah,
Thank you.
fantastic, fantastic. So now, this is this is where I start to put on the civics hat, right? You and I, in well, we talk weekly, and your organization has the pleasure to be kind of partners within the organization of Every Voice, Every Vote, right? Um, when you think of civics, right? One of the things that I wanted to make sure as it relates to the Parkers within the Every Voice, Every Vote cohort is to amplify their voices, right? The work that they're doing within the civic space, right? We are so busy doing like our own stories, right? Addressing civics, addressing the work that we're doing. But I think oftentimes you guys don't get acknowledged personally for the work that you have been doing. So we started this cycle with amplifying voices of what you guys are doing, right? So the question I have for you to start is when you think of civics, right? What's the first thing that comes to mind, and what are you doing to continue to engage civically in that work?
Yes, exactly. That's something that we often talk about,
Yeah,
with among the team, the collaborators, as we try to encourage the community to engage more civically. Like, what does that mean, right?
yeah,
Even when we talk to
that's right.
the community, oh, we're doing civic engagement, and folks will ask, is that just election? And
Yeah,
it's not,
Mhm.
right? So it's really, when we talk about civic engagement, it could be like from gardening
that's
to
right.
the food pantries, to being on the
That's
neighborhood,
right.
to going to education collectives, anything that you can do like community wise. And for me, my passion again is bringing together the media and going to the communities. That's
Yeah.
how I feel like I meet my civic engagement, quota.
Right.
It's using my skills to go to get closer to my neighbors, to
Yeah.
my community, to different communities that I don't even know, right? Like the
Yeah.
other day I went to like Strawberry Mansion, and is a neighborhood that I haven't
Wow.
been that
Mhm.
often,
Okay.
Mm.
but I've been to the Northeast because there's a lot of Brazilians there. I've been to South Philly because
Hmm.
there's a lot of Mexicans there. I've been to Southwest because there's some Brazilians there. So for me, it's one, I'm exploring, Philadelphia. I'm learning about Philadelphia. I'm reporting
Yeah.
and giving space for, my fellow, community members.
Yeah.
They're Latino or people of color, and let's talk about your issues. And people feel, what I have a really good response about the community having that space. They're like, oh, thank you for listening,
Yeah.
you know
Mm.
Yeah.
and that's crazy because I don't think we actually listen to each other nowadays. So people
Mhm.
say thank you for listening to my story,
Yeah.
because I love that, and I feel like that's part of my work. But as there's also a passion as a human being, I love storytelling. So
Wow.
sit down, tell me about you, tell me about your family, how did you get here, tell me about, you know, your kids. And now I'm a mom too, so I can relate to that too.
Yeah.
And that, but we bond. You know, I
Mm.
create something greater with them than just, oh, I'm reporting here, tell me what happened. How many
Yeah.
bodies, like that's not it. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Yeah.
reporting that we do, that it's civic engagement, it's that,
I love that.
it's
Mm.
relationship, you know, it's understanding each other, and it's long term, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
With so many different things, I guess, going on now in our um, communities right now when it comes to minority communities. For us, we're hearing things like, oh, some of the concerns are, you know, youth gun violence and public safety and things like that. What are some of the things that your team is hearing are, you know, major concerns for, I guess, the Latino community?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess, you know, it comes to mind, it's the fear that we
Mm.
have, that we've been living
Right now. Mm-hmm.
right
Mm.
Yeah.
now with you know, deportations.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's nothing great, there's nothing gonna beat that,
Yeah. I'm
that
sure.
issue. It's
Mhm.
and it's just sad.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad, it's horrible, it's horrific. um it's um it's a sad moment,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm.
And it's, you know, as I read more about, you know, the history of deportations, is not nothing new.
Yeah.
It's not
Mm.
anything new.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's the part that we're trying to understand more. You know, we have, you know, talked to some historians
Yeah.
to understand more about, you know, the moment that we're living now. We just interviewed for Dialogos Johanna Hernandez, you know,
Mm.
the author of Young Lords,
Mm.
you know, this is a acclaimed book. And she was telling us about, you know, the myth of democracy and how many times communities of color have been targeted and
Mm.
pushed
That's right.
away.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
like Mexicans have been pushed away
Yeah.
many decades ago, Asians as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mhm.
So we're living history on repeat.
Yeah.
You know, what
Mm.
does that mean for
Yeah.
us? You know, where do we go from there?
Mm.
So those are the questions we ask ourselves as we are living through this moment.
Yeah. And what advice could you offer,
Yeah.
you know, to your you know, to both, to all of our communities who are listening and watching now, like things that they can do to help and support, you know, people who are afraid to come out and ask for help, or who don't, you know, or are in fear of leaving their homes, and they may know someone that they can help, or you know, they can just off give them advice like.
Yes, well, the biggest advice that we got, again, from therapists, other people who came through the podcast, is we heal in community.
Mm.
That's not
Mm.
my phrase. I want to make that clear. You know, I'm
Giving credit.
yes, I'm
Yeah.
That's
giving
your journalist
credit.
hat right there. You're giving credit. I got you.
We had a
I know.
therapist, Talicia, and she's amazing. She's from Ancestral Healing Collective, and she said we heal in community. And when
Mm.
she
Mm.
said that, it was so profound,
Mm.
Mhm.
because that's truth, you know. So I say, um, let's look for each other. Let's, you know, look for support in our own neighbors, in our own community members, because at this point,
Yeah.
obviously, there are attorneys who can support us with the legal things,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and the
Mhm.
organizations. There are so many organizations that support immigrants in Philadelphia, you know,
Mhm.
nationalities, Taller Puertorriqueño, you know, Congreso. I can go
Yeah.
on about
Yeah.
Mhm.
it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but this
Mhm.
you can find
Awesome.
on, you know, resources.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, we need to look for people who offer comfort
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
how to feel, you know,
Yeah.
how to feel better, because it's
Yeah.
devastating to, you know, go on social media and see that, you know, immigrants are, they are working here,
Yeah. That's
they're
just. Mhm.
supporting our economy, being taken out as animals, being treated
Yeah.
worse than animals. Like, what is that?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I'll say let's support one another. That's the only thing that we can do right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned that your husband is there supporting you. You mentioned your children. How's the creativity in the house, and how do they support you?
Yes, the creativity is at housing.
Mhm.
It's through the roofs. Yes,
That's
my
nice.
husband, he's my partner.
Yeah.
He is also a photographer, a
Okay.
creative.
No.
He's born and raised in Philadelphia.
Okay.
So we have a lot of fun exploring the city and
Mhm.
sharing about stories. And the
Awesome.
girls, they're still toddlers,
Okay. Oh, you
kids.
got babies. Okay.
Yes,
Oh.
they are
Hmm.
3 and 4.
Okay.
So
Oh.
they're just learning
Yeah.
how to be creative.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. That's daddy's
That's the best
princesses still.
time. Yeah. That's the
Yes.
I
best
bet you.
time when you can still mold them and
Yeah.
teach
Yeah.
them stuff. And
Yeah.
when they get older, as long as you teach them when they're young, it stays with them.
I
But
bet you
yeah.
dad is spoiled rotten, got them spoiled rotten, huh? They his
Yes.
babies.
Yes.
I want to know, I just want to back up because you were talking about some of the people who are nervous and really scared. Do you have any resources that for those who may be watching this right now that may be in, that space of being terrified or scared or
Mhm.
not knowing what to do? Do you have
Mhm.
any resources that you can give to someone right now who may be watching
Mhm.
this? Yeah,
Yes, yes. Thank you for asking that.
sure.
Yeah, if you go to our website, intimedia.org, we have a guide for um, allies as well as immigrants
Yeah.
on how to react. The guide was produced by talented journalist Vicky Diaz Camacho
Hmm.
and one of our collaborators, and she put together this information,
Oh,
this amazing
fantastic. Yeah.
set of information on what to do,
Mm.
right? Because that's why we got a lot of questions from friends, neighbors. Gabriela, what do I do? If I am, arrested, if somebody I know is arrested, who do I call?
Yeah.
How do I find out? How do I react? Should I walk with my driver's license? Should I walk with my passport?
Yeah. Hmm.
So those are legit questions and very important questions. So
Yeah.
we put together this guide. People can download. It's in English, Portuguese, and
Mm.
Spanish. And also our first podcast, we have Erika from Juntos. She's the executive director of Juntos, who is
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
important,
Yeah. Yeah.
organization led by immigrants
That's
here
right.
in
That's right.
South Philly.
Hmm.
And she also provided with very valuable information
Yeah.
for people that can hear it.
Yeah. Make sure you send it to us. We'll post it and make sure that we support it and amplify it. One of the things that I was super excited about, and I'm proud, and I will continue talking about this, is we had someone by the name of Kadita on our show before.
Hmm.
She talked a little bit about those returning citizens that didn't know that they can vote once they got back home. We aired the show. One day, this gentleman was crossing the street and seen me. He walked across the street and I broken English, so I couldn't hear too much, but he just kept saying, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And I didn't know what he was talking about until he said, "Your show, you and We Talk Weekly." And I was like, "Yes." And he pretty much said, "Because of your show, I was able to vote because I didn't know that once I got back home from returning as a returning citizen, that I now had the right to vote." And so we were as excited to be able to amplify that message for those who believe or who knows now that they're able to vote once they get back home and you're no longer, right? And so that was a big deal for me. And so this is why we do shows like this. So someone else might be able to see what you just said, that little nugget, and be able to make some type of life-changing decision based around the information that they just got. So thank you for that. Um, Before I let you leave, this went, geez, it went so fast. You have done so much work. You have been changing the lives of so many. What is the legacy that you would like to leave?
Oh, it's so hard to answer that question. I just want to leave good stories, good
Okay.
content,
Yeah.
stories that survive time.
Okay.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
That still resonate 5, 10 years from now. because that's what happens. You know, I
Mm,
remember a professor said, a good film, Gabriela, nobody forgets.
yeah,
You
Mhm.
know, you can go decades.
that's right.
So my hope is that stories will resonate through the younger generations, and
Yeah.
people feel inspired to continue to be together, you
Mm.
know, and do together for the next generations.
Fantastic, fantastic. Is it something that we haven't covered today that you would like everyone who's viewing, the viewers, to know? Is anything?
No, thank you. I think you guys covered everything
Okay.
from the kids to Peru.
Is there
How
anything
how
that
do
you have that you're working on that you have coming out in the next year or so? We know you're doing every
Mhm.
voice, every vote,
Yeah.
or is there
Yes.
something that
Mhm.
you would like to kind of
Yes.
highlight or
Yeah. Well, thank you. I
Yeah.
think I'd love to invite people to our, we have a screening coming up.
Okay.
Well, we're going to
okay?
showcase the work that we have doing this year in terms of the shorts, in terms
Yeah.
of the short documentaries. It's going to be October 28th here at Philly Camp.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I'd love to invite folks to come
Mhm.
and pack the house,
Yeah.
let us know what they think, visit our website, send stories, you know.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for having me on the show. It's been a
No,
pleasure.
absolutely. Thanks for
Mhm.
coming. But we can't let
Mhm.
you leave without you telling us how people can get in contact with you and all that good old stuff. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Please make sure to go on the website, intimedia.org, and follow us on social media at News by Intia Media on Instagram, and also on Facebook, LinkedIn,
Yeah.
Threads, and X.
Thread next, no doubt. All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Gabriela Watson-Burkett. Burkett. Did I? No doubt.
You got
All
it.
right. So I don't want anyone to go anywhere. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. And once, one thing that we always say on the show is once you come to the show, you're a friend to the show. So you're always welcome to come back.